Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs. It's been a long time, hasn't it? I thought I would finally, 3 years later, do a tutorial on Joseph. This is Joseph, my little nativity scene Joseph, and I have the pattern all out, and you can actually, we did him last year, but we never actually did the tutorial on him. You can choose whatever colour you like for his robe. You can choose whatever colour you want for the, I don't know what you would call this, the headdress, I guess is what I'm calling it. But you can even make them as, you know, your three wise men, just changing up the colours, and whether you have a staff or not. I thought a staff might be good if you were doing a shepherd or something like that. You can make the little staff. So this is what we're going to make. You can actually use yarn. So if you have migrated from bands to yarn, you are still able to do the same pattern, but do yarn instead. It's the same stitches. Obviously, when you come to do things like the beard and things like that, it's a little bit different. And changing colours, but if you're a yarn user, you probably know how to do that anyway. But yes, you can make it in yarn. As you can see, exactly the same pattern, but one is much bigger than the other. That is because our hook size is going to change, and also because of the yarn, the size of the yarn, which you're going to use. So there you go, you can use yarn. Just because we're doing a loom band pattern does not mean that you cannot make these creations, all of the creations that I have, as yarn work or yarn designs too. All right, so let's get started. What are we going to need? Obviously you're going to need stuffing because there are Loomigurumi and we use our stuffing for that. You're going to need a hook. I tend to use a 2.75. You're going to need some stitch holders. If you don't have this type of stitch holder, you can use a safety pin, anything really, just to hold your stitch so that you don't lose where you're at. The colours, I'm going to use probably the same colours that I did here. So I'm using brown for the beard and for the staff. I'm using grey for the headdress, this piece here, and white for the little top part here and around as a belt. And I'm using navy blue for his robe and skin tone, and as I said, and white as well. We start at the top using a magic ring, and we're going to do grey for that. So I'll get myself organised. It's been a very long time since I've done a tutorial, so you have to bear with me. I'm probably not going to be very good at this anymore. I'm very slow. I can tell you that my looming, I'm terribly slow now. So we're going to start by doing a magic ring. You're going to take your first band, wrap it around your hook so that you have 3 loops on it, like so. Now, if you're not very good at doing your magic ring, you can always pop a little stitch marker or safety pin or whatever in to help you. Okay, and you're going to take your first band. We're doing a magic ring of 6, so 2, 4 and 6. So you've got 6 to go in your magic ring and 1 on your hook. Okay, and pull it through and loop. If you don't know how to do a magic ring, I would highly recommend having a look at my Loomigurumi tips and tricks playlist, and it shows you how to do all of these stitches. Okay, so if this is a new little hobby for you, have a look at that. I can put a link to it. I'll put a link to it at the end of this video in the end card, so you know where you can find a tutorial on how to do all the different stitches. You'll find easy ways to do magic rings, how to do your decreases, invisible decreases and increases, and single crochets, double crochets, all of that. Wiggle your bands around so that you have a little loop, like so. Okay, you can count your stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the one on the hook is number 6. Now we're going to do an increase, and this is our first round. So poke your hook through. Basically you're going to do 2 stitches. An increase means 2 stitches in the same stitch. Take a first band and do a single crochet, and you're going to put your stitch marker on that because that is our first one, and that's to remind us when we get to the beginning of the round again. Go back through, and we're going to do another single crochet in that first stitch. So you've got 2 single crochets in that stitch. Okay, go into the second stitch and you're going to do 2 in there. So this effectively takes your stitch count from 6 as our magic ring to, it'll be 12 now. Okay, we're doing 2 single crochets in each of these. There we go. And our last one with 2 in here, so we will now have 12 stitches. If you want to count that, go for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. We're now going to do the next round of single crochet and then an increase. So in this first stitch here, we're going to do 1 single crochet, and we're going to move our stitch marker to this particular stitch. And then in the next one, we're going to do an increase, which, as you know, is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And you're going to do that all the way around. So the next one, single crochet. And in the next stitch, an increase. Single crochet. And an increase. Single crochet and an increase. Single crochet and an increase. Now you always will finish on an increase if you're doing things like this. Count your stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and you're now at 18. Okay, so now we're going to do single crochet, increase, but we're also going to change the colour. So if you see here, we've got the top part. We're now going to change the colour so that it shows that there's a ribbon in the top. So I'm going to change to white. Now when we change colour, we have to do a slip stitch. So let me show you. You're going to go into your first stitch here, pull your white band through and slip this end of your last stitch onto it like so. One over the other. That is a slip stitch. Move your stitch marker onto that first stitch. Okay, you can see that it's pulled the stitch over from the grey. This part is the little slip stitch. This part where we have our actual stitch marker is going to be where we put our next stitch when we do the next round. So it is single crochet, increase. This is counted as your first single crochet. The next stitch is here, so we're doing another single crochet, and now we're doing an increase. 2 stitches in the same. Single crochet, single crochet, and an increase. And we'll keep this pattern until we get to the end. Single crochet, single crochet, and an increase. Single crochet, single crochet, and an increase. single crochet, single crochet, and we finish on an increase in here, this last grey stitch. Oops, try one band at a time. 1 and 2. Now if you count your stitches, remember this little bit here is the slip stitch. This is our first stitch, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 and 24. Okay, so we've got 24 stitches. We're going back to grey. So I'm going to pop this out the way, move back to grey, and again, because we're changing colour, we need to do a slip stitch. Do not use this stitch part here. You're going into this part of your stitch and you're doing a slip stitch. So pull it through, slip the end of your loop of white on, one over the other, like so, and put your stitch marker on. Now with this we're just doing a round of single crochet. There is no increase, but we need to do 8 stitches in grey, 8 stitches in flesh tone, and 8 stitches in grey. So this is our first stitch, and it was just single crochet into the second stitch, grey. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. 8 stitches in grey. We now need to change to our skin tone colour. I think I used to call it flesh tone and it grossed someone out. I don't know why the word flesh would gross someone out, but there we go. 8 in the skin tone. Again, we're swapping colours. So you go through the stitch, pull your skin tone band through, slip the end of the grey on, one over the other. That's number 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Now we're doing 8 grey again. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, changing colour. So go in, pull your grey through, slip the skin tone on and do your slip stitch, and then continue with your 8. So you haven't done any increases. You will still have 24 stitches in this round. And here's our last stitch in white. There we go. Okay, so the next round is going to be 7 grey. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Then you're going to have 9 in skin tone. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you're going to have 8 in grey. So we'll get those ready. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. We don't have to change colour because we finished on grey and we're starting on grey. So you miss that little slip stitch there and you're going into your first stitch here. And this is your first one of 8. Whoops, get out of the way. Stitch marker, like so. Move your stitch marker onto that stitch. And you're going to continue. We're doing 7 in grey, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. We're changing colour to the skin tone. You've still got a little grey stitch here, so you're going through your grey stitch with your skin tone, doing a slip stitch because you're changing colour. So slip your grey stitch on, one over the other. Miss this little bit here that you can see it's at an angle. That's the slip stitch. This is the actual stitch. So your second stitch goes into that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and oh, that's not a very nice band. I'm going to chuck that one away and get a new one. That one looks like it will break. 9. Here is your slip stitch. You're going into the grey, okay, but we're changing colour from skin tone into grey, so you have to pull it through, slip that flesh tone coloured on, and do your slip stitch. Whoops, come back here. Nearly lost my stitching there. Try that again. Push it through, slip stitch, and then continue in the grey. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. All right, still you will have 24 stitches. Now we're doing 6 grey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 10 flesh tone. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 8 grey. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So again, we don't have to change colour. You're going from grey to grey. So here's our first stitch. Into the second stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We've got one stitch here that's grey. We're going into that and changing colour to skin tone, so it's a slip stitch. That's your slip stitch here from the previous round, so go into the actual stitch and continue with your remainder of your flesh tone, skin tone. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that was yucky. Let's throw those 2 away too. 7, 8, 9 and 10. We're changing to grey. There's your little slip stitch. Go in here. We're doing another slip stitch to change to grey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 and 8. Okay, so this is how it's starting to look. Okay, now this next one is going to be a little tricky. So we're doing 6 in grey. Let's count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We're then doing 4 in skin tone. 1, 2, 3, 4. We are then getting some brown. I'm using the dark brown, and we are doing, oh, let's open that, 1 stitch in brown. I've got fluff there. We're then doing another 4 in skin tone. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we go back to grey and we do 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, so 6, 4, 1, 4 and 9. We start with our grey. We don't have to do a slip stitch because we're going from grey to grey. Move your stitch marker. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're changing colour, so it's going to be a slip stitch. Look here, you've got your slip stitch here. Here's your real stitch. So we're doing the same here. We're going to go through, slip our grey on, do your slip stitch, continue with your remainder. So that's 2. This is 2, 3 and 4. Then we're changing colour again and doing that 1 brown stitch. So you've got to do it as a slip stitch. Pull it through, slip that skin tone on, slip stitch into your next stitch. We're changing colour again to flesh tone, skin tone. So slip stitch, continue with your skin tone. Oops, chuck them all over the place. And then we're changing colour again to go back to grey. So we've got this last skin tone coloured here. We're changing, so we've got to go through, slip stitch. There's your slip stitch here. Go into the grey, the real stitch, and finish your round single crochet in grey. My last stitch here. There we go. Now, instead of using skin tone, we're going to be using the dark brown, okay, because we're going to be doing his beard. So I'm going to pop my skin tone ones away. We're doing 5 of grey, so 3, 4 and 5. Then in brown we're doing 10. Let's count those out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, and 9 in grey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So this is the next round. So going through your first stitch with your grey, move your stitch marker onto it, two, 3, 4 and 5. You have 1 stitch left of grey. You're going through that, with a brown, so you're doing a slip stitch to change colour. Here's your slip stitch in your previous, so you're going through your real stitch up here. You see it right there. You're continuing with your single crochet in brown. Now, in our previous round, you can see we've got this little brown slip stitch. That's the slip stitch. This is the real loop that you go through. And you're just doing a single crochet. And then in the next stitch, because again we change colour, you've got your slip stitch here. This is the real loop that we're going through. Your last brown stitch is on your last skin tone coloured, right here. And then you can see in the round below you've got your slip stitch here and your grey. So we're doing another slip stitch because we're changing to grey now. So slip your brown on. Whoa! I hate when I do that. Let's re-loop these in. There we go. Okay, so we got, yep, in through the grey. You're doing a slip stitch, like so. Then you go into your second stitch here. And you continue to the end of the round doing single crochets in grey. And our last stitch. So that's our first round where we have some beard happening here. We're going to do 5 grey, 9 brown, 10 grey. So let's count them out. 3, 4, 5 and 9 brown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, and then 10 in grey. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. First stitch, you're going to move your stitch marker onto that. Phoebe, you don't do looming, get your snout out. Hey, no, thank you for your help. Excuse me a minute while I get rid of the cat. Hey, down you go. Good girl. Oh, she's very interested in this. So slip stitch into our brown colour. So you've got your 9, whoopsie, brown. And we're going to convert into a grey, so go through that last brown stitch. You're doing a slip stitch with the grey, so slip the brown on. Do your slip stitch. Here's our slip stitch here. This is our real loop that we're going through. And you continue to the end of the round in the grey. Have I taken your spot, your sleeping spot by my keyboard? All my loom bands are there. You're not very happy with me, are you? No. Phoebe. There's no room. You can't lie there. That's my pattern. All right, I just have to pause the video for a second. She has decided that the place to lie is on my pattern. So that's our last stitch. One moment while I shift the cat. Hey, no, you're not getting those. Get off. Come on, down. Go. All right, our next, we just did 5, 9 and 10, I believe, didn't we? So we're on 5, 8 and 11. Do we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Yes, so 5, 8 and 11. So 5 grey, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 8 brown, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 11 grey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I'm doing this. Get your paws out. Goodness gracious. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. She's very interested in this. Alright, so we start with grey. Move your stitch marker. Change to brown, do your slip stitch. You have one brown stitch left here. You're going to go through it and switch to grey with a slip stitch. I've got a slip stitch here, so go through and you finish off your round in grey. Please remember, these are just my colours. You can do whatever colour you want. It really doesn't matter. And you can use the head that we're making now to do different kinds of, you know, if you're looking for one with a beard, you can do this. Or you can do the Santa beard. I thought this beard would be a little different. But on the Santa tiny tot, there is a different beard again. And you can do that beard if you prefer. It's completely up to you. You can take bits and pieces from each of the different tiny tot designs to create your own. So there we go. Now we're on 5 grey, 6 brown and 12 grey. So 2, 3, 4 and 5 and then 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 and then 12 in grey. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So let's do this. Don't forget to move your stitch marker. We're switching to brown. Go through the real stitch, not the slip stitch, but you are doing a slip stitch. Continue with your browns. Phoebe, hey, enough. One moment. We're switching back to grey, so you've got 2 stitches of brown here. So in this second to last brown one, you're going to go through with your grey and do a slip stitch. In this next brown one, you're doing a single crochet, and you've got a slip stitch here that you need to deal with from the previous round, so ignore the slip stitch and go through the real loops that you need to with a single crochet, and then you continue with grey until the end of the round. Phoebe, you're not helping, my darling. Oops, let's do that one properly. Oh, I miscounted. I'm 1 band short. There we go. Now we need 4 grey, 5 brown, and 9. And I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What we're going to do is a single crochet, decrease, which is why we have less bands than we need. So we need 4 grey, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we need 5 brown, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9 grey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, as I said, single crochet, decrease. The first one, single crochet, and you're going to move your stitch marker onto that. Second one, single crochet. And then we do a decrease. So with the decrease, you've got both loops here. We're just going to go through this back loop. Okay, we're not going to go through the front loop here. So through the back loop and through the back loop. So you've got both back loops of those next 2 stitches on your hook. Take your single grey band, pull it through those 2, and then just do it like a normal single crochet. Okay, your next stitch is then here, this grey one, which is a single crochet. Now we're changing colours to the brown. We've got a slip stitch here to deal with. Ignore the little bit that goes at the angle. Go into the reel. We're doing a single crochet. However, it has to be a slip stitch because we've got the change of colour. So pull it through, slip the grey on, and now we have to do a decrease. So again, you go through the back loop and the back loop of the 2 following stitches, and with your brown you pull it through and do your normal single crochet. Then we've got single crochet, single crochet. Now this next one is tricky because it's a decrease. You've got your 1 brown and then you've got a colour change. So you're going to go through the back loop of the brown, miss that little bit here which is your slip stitch, and go through the back loop of the grey. And then with your brown you do your single crochet. We now have a colour change and it needs to be a single crochet. So in through the grey, and we're having to do a slip stitch, but that's going to count as our first single crochet. Whoops. It's going to count as our first single crochet. So let's do this. We're going in, we do a slip stitch. So that's our first single crochet. Here's our second stitch here. Single crochet, and then a decrease, so through the 2 back loops. of the 2 following stitches. Oops, come back here. And you do your decrease. And then it's single crochet, single crochet, and a decrease. Single crochet, single crochet, and these last 2 stitches, get the back loops and do your decrease like so. Alright, so you'll now have, we can count the stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. So we've gone from 24 stitches back down to 18. Our next round is going to be 3 grey, 3 brown, and 6 grey. And again, we're going to be doing decreases. This time it's going to be single crochet decrease. It's going to be tricky where we've got the colour changes. So our first one, first stitch, single crochet in grey, move your stitch marker. Now we have a decrease. So through the next 2 grey stitches, you're doing a decrease. Single crochet, so in through that last grey stitch to do your single crochet in grey, and now we have a decrease. Again though, remember you've got that little slip stitch bit happening here where you had the colour change. We need to do a careful decrease here because we're changing to brown. So you go through the 2 back loops of the brown, pull the band through. Now normally we'd do a single crochet, but we have to do a slip stitch, so we're going to add that grey loop on, reclaim the brown and do your slip stitch. The next stitch is a single crochet in brown, and my cat is pushing. Just because you don't have room doesn't mean you need to push us out the way, Phoebes. Again, we're doing a decrease, so you go through the back loop of the brown and the back loop of the next brown. Do you see it right there? It's tricky because it's by a slip stitch. So there's 2 browns there. You're going to do your decrease. Okay, now we have a colour change back to grey. Miss the little slip stitch. Okay, it's a single crochet, but you're having to do a slip stitch instead because it's a colour change. In these next 2 grey, it's a decrease. Single crochet, decrease, single crochet, and your last stitch is a decrease, like so. You now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 stitches. Okay, and it's going to look a bit odd. It's going to sort of look a bit puffy, and it kind of looks like it doesn't fit. It does. Once you have the stuffing in it, it will be fine. I promise you, it will look fine. Now, we're going to stop with the grey for a minute and use skin tone. If Miss Phoebe will let me. Alright, Phoebes, have you got enough room there? Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're doing the neck, okay? I think we said we had 12 stitches. We're going in the back post only. Alright, so the back post is this bit here. Alright, if you're not familiar, normally we would go through the stitch like that. What we're doing is this little bit between here, okay, and that's what we're going to go through. So take your stitch, and it's changing colour, so you have to go through, slip that brown, the grey on, and do your slip stitch. Come back here. There we go. All right, and through again here, like so. And we're going to go all the way around in each of these posts. I'm going to put my, excuse me, paws out. Thank you. So we're going all the way around. Make sure, now you see that's wrong. You want to make sure that you part it kind of like that. Make sure you're in the right spot. And it can be a bit bulky where you've got a slip stitch for a colour change. Come on. No. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this is 12. I'm going to move that back to this one because I know it looked like we started backwards, but we actually didn't. Okay, so there we go. Now, and she's lying on my book again. Thank you, darling. We're now going to do the colour of the robe. Now, I chose to do a navy blue. So I'm going to change to my navy blue, and we're doing single crochet and an increase. So the first thing we have to do is the colour change, which is a slip stitch. So we've got our skin tone here. Go through your first stitch and you're going to do a slip stitch. That's number 1. Single crochet, well, it's considered, and put your stitch marker on. And an increase. So remember how to do an increase. You go through the stitch and you do 2 in the same stitch. So 1 and then go through again. 2. Single crochet. Increase. Single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, whoopsie, single crochet, increase, single crochet, and you're going to finish on an increase. Now let's count our stitches because, oh, that's a yucky one. So there's my increase. So let's count our stitches. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 is on our hook, which sounds good. Okay, so to do the robe, we are going to, so that was the neck. We finished the neck. As you can see, we've got one line of the neck here, and then we've got the robe. For the body, we're going to do 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 rows in blue, 1 row in white for the belt. Whoa, crash bang wallop all over the place. So 4 in blue, 1 in white, and then 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in blue. Okay, now I'm not going to do these all with you except for the first 2. All right, because basically the rest of those will be single crochets. So the first one, however, we're doing is single crochet, increase. So this one, you start with a single crochet. Now I have just put 1 band for each row. I still take from my collection, my little tub here. So single crochet, single crochet, and then an increase. And the reason I do that is so that I can count the rows that I'm working on. I just take 1 from here to indicate which row I'm on. It's my increase. Single crochet, single crochet, and then an increase, single crochet, single crochet, and an increase. Single crochet, single crochet, and increase. And your last stitch will be an increase. So you've got, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 stitches. All right, so you're now going to do 3 rows of blue, no increases. Your white row is going to be single crochet, increase again. All right, so that, thank you, Phoebes, that one is going to be an increase, and then these 6 rows are just single crochet, no increases. All right, so I'm going to pause the video and I will get back to you once we have got to the end of this one. So single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, increase, and then these 6 again are single crochets. All right, I'll catch you back in a second. So as you can see, I'm back and I've finished my my rows. I did my single crochet, increase in this white one, and then I did the remainder of my rows, and I'm back here at the beginning. Now, probably a good time to put the safety eyes in. I use the 9mm safety eyes, okay, that you can just get from your little craft shops, or you can buy them online on Amazon, I guess would probably have them. You need to work out where you're going to put them. This being the center here for the nose, so I would probably put one here and one here. I think that probably looks about right, so I'm sort of between these two and between these two, and I will poke those in. Now these are the backings for them. What I tend to do is poke one in, have it poke through the back here, through the center, and press on. I like to hear it click once. Oh, I don't think I'm going to hear that one click. Let's see if I can make this one click. Sometimes they, there we go, that one kind of did. There we go, that one clicked in. I really do want this one to, there we go, that clicked in too. So I have those in place. If you have clicked them in place, the good thing about loom bands is you can actually stretch them, so you could move them if you needed to. What I'm going to do now is go around on the face. You can see I've sort of put the edge to the headdress around, and I've just done that using grey bands, and I'm going to start down here at the bottom at the last stitch here, and I'm going to chain 1 and 2, and then I'm going to find the next stitch here, and I'm going to slip stitch in and reclaim, and then chain my second, and then find my next stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch that in, chain another one, and I'm going to do that all the way around. Now it's up to you if you want to go here or if you want to go slightly behind. Try not to pull the bands too taut. Oops, there we go. You don't want to stretch the bands out. Here you do want to make sure that you're in front of the white. So it's a slip stitch and a chain, and then you find the next stitch to go in. Oopsie. All the way down here. Now when I get to the back of the neck, I'm nearly there, I just had this one little one here to do. I'm just going to do slip stitches. So I'm going to do my chain here. And then really what I'm going to do is start the bottom part here of the shawl. And so I need to do slip stitches across the back that I can then work in. So what I'm going to do, I'm lining up where I want to start, and I think I probably want to start about here. Let's get some more bands. And I'm going to pull one through and slip stitch. Oops, I can see I've got a skin tone band on my hook there too. Let's try that again. Go through, pull it, and slip stitch. Then go to the next one and slip stitch it in. And this one, we're not actually tying the slip stitch, we're just leaving them open. So you pull it through, connect them, and rejoin. Make sure when you're doing this that you're not catching the front of the head as well. So pull through, add the 2 loops, and reclaim. And what you'll see is it's just leaving this front loop here that we will then be able to work in. And you're going to do that until you get to the other side where we started that ruffle. Two more stitches. There's one, and here is my last one. Okay, I'm going to chain one. I'm going to pinch it and turn my hook around the other way. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into, I'm going to leave this stitch here. So you've got the one on the hook, the one next to it. I'm going to go into this one, the second one. So you've got 1, 2, so it's into the third. Okay, and I'm going to start doing single crochet. So I'm going to pull it through the 2 loops, and I'm going to pull it through like so. And again I'm going to go in to these 2, and I'm using these to start my single crochet line across. Oops. I'm being a fumble fingers. There we go. This one. And this one. So this very last one, I'm going to go through. I'm going to pull it through, I'm going to add that on like so and reclaim my stitch, and then I'm going to chain one, I'm going to pinch it and turn, and then again I'm going to go 1, 2 and into this third stitch here. I'm going to do my single crochet like so, and I'm going to do this until this bottom shawl is as long as I want it to be, really. I mean, that's completely up to you, whether you want it 4 rows, 5 rows, so you get to pick how long you want this to be. I will let you continue. So we'll put him to one side just for a minute. We are going to close off his bottom here, but first of all let's make our arms. You're going to need to make 2. I've already made 1 to save some time, and you're going to take 8 bands, okay, and they're going to be the skin tone, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 1 to start with, okay, for your magic ring. That's for your magic ring. You're then going to use, and we're not doing increases or anything like that, you're then going to do another round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So another round will be in skin tone, and then you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds. So it will be 8 rounds in total. You've got your magic ring and then 1 and then 7 in blue. Alright, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So 7 rounds will be in blue. And I'm going to put 7 bands here, just so that I can use 1 from each of those, so that I can count how many rounds. And as I said, you're not going to be increasing or doing anything. So start with your magic ring, 1, 2, 3. If you find it easier, pop a stitch marker through. That's just so you've got a bit of leverage there. And you're going to do a magic ring with 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll take that out now, it's getting in my way. 5, 6, 7 and 8. Now remember, you're doing 2 of these, I'm just going to do 1. So you've got your 8, spread it around, go through your first stitch, and we're just doing a single crochet, and we're putting our stitch marker on that. That is stitch number 1. Go all the way around, just doing 1 stitch, 1 single crochet in each stitch. There we go. Then you're going to change colour to blue, so we need to do a slip stitch. This is our first one. We go through, pull that, slip that band on, and put your stitch marker on your first stitch. So now we're doing again a single crochet in each of these. I'm sorry about my manky finger. I was putting a bed together for the cats, their window beds, and they have suction that sticks to the window, so the cats can sit on them and bask in the sunshine, and I pinched my finger. Oh, it hurt, I tell you. A few choice words were thrown around. Remember, each round is going to have 8 stitches, and only 8. You're not going to increase, you're not going to decrease. We're back to the beginning. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Go through. Now remember, that's the little slip stitch. This is your actual stitch. So our next round, and you just do a single crochet here. You don't have to do anything funky. Move your stitch marker and around we go. I will meet you back when we're on our 8th round. Okay, just keep doing these until you have 8 rounds, and then I'll show you how we're going to prepare these to attach to the little body. Okay, so I'll pause this and we'll all continue. So I've just completed my last stitch in the round. Let's zoom in a little bit closer, make sure that we're all nicely focused in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have 3 bands. And like I've done here, okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to go through that first stitch, and we're going to take a band, and we're going to do a slip stitch, like so, okay, and then we're going to put one over the other, and just do this very loosely, alright? And you're going to pop your stitch marker on that. We don't want that to be missed. Then we're going to go through about halfway, so there's a stitch here and a stitch the other side, so make sure you've got 4 little loops on your hook, not more, not less. So let's go through 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Pull the next band through, and again one over the other, and attach. Oopsie. There we go. And then the last one, you go through these ones at the very end here, and again you want 4 little loops. There we go. And you're going to pull your last band through, one over the other, and you're going to keep it on a stitch marker. You don't have to have these special stitch markers. You can use a safety pin or anything really, just to keep those safe. Now I don't stuff these really. What I am going to do though is place them on the neck here. So where I have this piece of headdress that is matching and meeting here, I'm going to go through 3 holes here, and then on the other side 1, 2, 3, and that's where I'm going to place the arms, because they will be either side of his head. Ooh, let me come back out a bit, otherwise you're not going to be able to see. There we go. So they're going to go either side, and they're going to go through from the inside. So firstly, let's go through here, and you can always adjust if you've placed it and you think, oh, I don't like that, it's placed wrong. You can adjust where you've placed it, that doesn't matter. Alright, so you're going to take your first one off, like so, and you're going to pull it through and keep it on your hook. You want to keep it on your hook. Go through the next hole, which is up here, grab your next stitch, which is the middle stitch, pull that through like so, and you're going to put one stitch over the other. So the first stitch you're going to lift up and move it over, so you just got that second stitch on there. Okay, then you're going to go through the next hole, keeping this on your hook. Go through the next spot on the neck, make sure that we're in the right spot. Where are we here? Where did we go through last time? So this is our next spot here. Pull that last band, thank you very much, through. Oops, I can see that I've collected a few extra stitches there, so I'm going to get rid of those. Alright, so pop that on, one over the other. Now we're going to secure this in place, so I'm going to go through some of these internal bands here, grab another band, pull it through, and tie them off like so. Don't do it too tightly, because you might want to adjust where we're doing this, but as you can see, that's where that's going to sit. Okay, so let's go to the other side. Now I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I like to work going forward, it's just easier for me. So I'm going to grab my first loop, pull it through, go into the second. I've got to keep it on my hook, hang on a second. 1, 2, 3, there we go. Pull my first one through, go into the second hole. I want to keep it on my hook, Thank you very much. Pull the second one through, one over the other, and did you see what I did? I had that other loop still on my hook, and that was causing a problem. There's my first loop, here's my second loop, one over the other, then I'm going to go back into the third hole, keeping it on my hook. There's my third loop, pull it through, one over the other, grab another band. I'm going to look for some internal loops here. We could probably go, oh, there's one here and one here. I like to just go through two, grab my band, pull it through, tie it off. Let's see if I'm happy with the placement with Mr. Squidgy Head here. I think I am. As I said, you can adjust it however you like. Once you're happy with the adjustment, make sure these are nice and tight. Okay, now what we can do at this stage is stuff his head. I tend to fold his dress over a little bit. This is where you will need your stuffing. Now, you can use old bits of yarn, you can use leftover t-shirt material. I like the polyfill from the craft shop. I just find it's nice and soft, so that's what I use. It's very lightweight. You don't need too much. You're going to just stuff his head. You want to stuff enough that you've got shape, but not so much that you're pulling the stitches apart so that you can see them and they look nasty, but you do want shape in the head. You do want it to be squidgy. I might do a tiny bit more, and it does get everywhere, which is annoying a little bit. I get these fibres flying all over, so I think that's good. I'm finding that I'm not seeing the stuffing through the stitches, which I don't like. It means you've stuffed it too much. Okay, so pull his dress back down. Let's get that out of the way. What we need to do now is get these fibres off and look at the bottom that we have here. So for the bottom, what we need to do is pick up our last band, which is here. I put an extra little stitch marker on it. Now what we're going to do is go through the inner loop. Okay, so you've got your loops here, you've got an inside loop and an outside loop. We're going through the inside loop only. I'm going to make it so that you can see very clearly what I'm doing. Okay, so there's two loops, the inside loop here and the outside loop here. We're going through the inside loop. And Siri thought we were talking to her. Alright, so all the way around on the inside loop only, and it's single crochet like so. Move your stitch marker. This just allows you to change the direction of your work. Gosh, I am fumbling today, and I have had coffee. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. Oops. Okay. Otherwise you're going to miss what I'm doing. So we're going all the way around. I've forgotten how long it takes to do these videos. I started this on Friday. Obviously I had to put it down to one side for the weekend. It wouldn't have been helpful to have been recording and having kids playing in the background. That would have been a bit distracting. So we're nearly all the way there. One last stitch. Now our next round is going to be 2 single crochets and a decrease. Okay, so we're going to go single crochet into our first stitch and change our stitch marker, and then single crochet in the next stitch, and then a decrease. And the decrease we're going to go through, it's going to be the invisible decrease. So we've got our 2 loops here, 1 loop, 2 loop, we're going through the outer loop and the outer loop of the next stitch, and pull them together with 1 band, and that's our decrease. And again, single crochet, and a decrease until you're all the way round. Single crochet, oops, and a decrease. So let's do that all the way round, and I will meet you when we have finished that. So I'm at the end of my round here. I've got a single crochet, and a decrease. So the next round is a single crochet and a decrease. So you go through and move your stitch marker onto this new stitch, single crochet, and then a decrease. And we're going to do that all the way around. Single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease. Finish on a decrease. The next round is going to be single crochet and a decrease as well. So go through, that's your single crochet. Now let's do a decrease, just in those outside loops for the decrease. If I can get my hook through. Now at this point I'm going to put my last stitch on my stitch marker with my first stitch place, and I'm going to stuff, because the rest of this is going to get too small to actually put my stuffing in unless I stuff now. So we're going to stuff. Again, you don't want to use too much stuffing. You don't want to stuff him so that he's overfilled, but you do want enough that you have a good shape. Make sure you get it down to the neck and wiggle it around a bit. One of these bags of stuffing lasts for ages, thankfully, unless you're doing a massive project, or unless you're doing yarn. Yarn tends to be bigger, so you go through it quicker. So there we go. I feel that that's a good amount of stuffing that I want in him. With this little tie here, we never did get back to that, did we? What you're going to do is just hide that end loop. When you decided how long you wanted your headdress to be, you just hide the end of the loop in these bands here. Can you see? So I'm just putting my hook through and pulling it back so that you can't see that little tail. If you just snip it off, it's going to unravel. Oh, my computer is talking to me. But you can hide it quite nicely by doing that. So now what we're going to do is decrease all the way around. And you really don't need a stitch marker anymore, because you're just going to decrease all the way around until it's sealed off. Let's get that out the way. And when you're doing your decreases, if you want, you can actually go through both loops, or still go through the just the two. It's completely up to you as to what you feel is better. I usually tend to just go through the outside loops, and you will feel that it's a bit stretched because you're at the end here, but don't worry about that, because as the bands relax, which will happen over a couple of hours or maybe a day or two, it will tighten up. So all you're doing is going around in your round until you have all of this tight. Oops, that was a slip stitch. We don't want to do that. Make sure you catch each stitch, otherwise you'll get a hole. And then on your last stitch, so this will be my last stitch, I'm going to go through and I'm just going to tie off. One over the other, pull tight. Okay, now as you can see, we've got this stitch flopping around. I'm going to go through the neck, probably go through the back of the neck, it might be a bit tired, yeah. Go all the way up, push all the way up till I can get that stitch on the end of my hook and pull it back through the inside, let go, and voila, there is our little Joseph. Now, I did mention that we had a little staff for him. You can do a little staff. Here we go. All I did for that was use brown bands, which I will grab, and I'll show you how we do that. So for our little staff that we're going to make here, we're going to actually be triple banding, okay, which means you take 3 bands at the same time, and we're just doing a chain really. So take a single band, wrap it once, twice, and maybe 3 times, up to you, and then you're going to take 3 bands, okay, 3 at a time, pull it through and put that over, put your little knot over, and that's going to start us off, okay, and reclaim. Get the fluff out, we don't want the fluff. So you've got 3 bands. So each of these next loops or chains are going to be 3, okay, so there's 1 and that's 2, and you can make this as long as you like. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, there's a broken band. There we go. 8. 9. 10. Let's see how that is for length. That's pretty good. We'll do a couple more. 10. So we'll do 11. Now, for this next one, what I'm wanting to do is go through halfway. Alright? I'm going to stop. And I'm going to get 2 bands. So I've got the other 3 ends here. I've got one side is on, one side is off. Take 2 bands. And you're going to wrap once and twice. Okay? So I'll show you again. You've got one side of your 3 bands on, one side of your 3 bands off. 2 bands, wrap once and twice, and then you're going to pop those other 3 bands back on. So you've got your little hinge. This is how we do our shoes when we're doing our normal little loom figures, not our Amigurumi. Now we need to push our 3 bands all the way through all of this that's on our hook. So I tend to do it bit by bit to make sure that I don't lose anything. And then reclaim our bands. See how that now acts as a little hinge? We're going to do that a couple more times. So we just did 1, get 3 bands again. We're going to pull 3 bands through. Okay, and another 3 bands. But this time again, we're going to pull halfway through. Okay, let go of the end, grab 2 bands, wrap them once and twice, and reclaim those 3 bands on the end. Okay, and then with 3 bands on the end of our hook, we're going to pull that all through again. So take the first 2 over, and then the bit that was in the middle, and pull it over, and reclaim the end of your 3 bands. Take another 3 bands, and pull through. One more. When I say one more set of 3. Pull it through, and then I'm going to get a single band and tie these off with a big slip knot like so. Now what you've got is basically the ability to hook this over like so. Okay, this loop you're going to pull back through the center of your bands. So if you push your hook through, you can get to the center, pull that back up so that you can hide it. Okay, like so. Put it back through. So that it is hidden. You don't want to put it so tight that you can't, that you can see it, but you do want it to be hidden. Okay, so there we go. I feel that that's hidden. I have a little angle in my staff, and I'm going to pinch. Now I want to pinch it on the side like so, and I want it to go through the skin tone. So I'm going to go through either side like that and make a hole through the skin tone, and I'm going to push it through like that, and then I need to spread it out so it doesn't look like his hand is all squidged in. But so that it looks like it's part of him. And there we go. Now the reason I've done 3 bands is because it gives the staff a little bit more well, it makes it stiffer, makes the band stiffer. Otherwise it'd be floppy all over the place, and that's not real good. So there we go. There is our little Joseph, or our little wise man or shepherd, whatever you want him to be. As I said, you can make this as long as you want, the headdress. You can change up the colours of his robe. If you don't want blue, if you want a different colour, that is absolutely fine. And you can make them all different colours, so each of the shepherds could have a different colour, and each of the wise men, we're going to put a crown on, but we're not there yet. But there we go. So here are his Joseph, with or without the staff, completely up to you. But these are our little Joseph or shepherds. Hope you enjoyed making it. Take care. Check out the other videos. It is well worthwhile. If you're new to Loomigurumi, I will put a link to where you can follow the tutorials on all the different stitches. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much, and it's really nice to talk to you all again. Take care, guys. Bye bye.